What's up, everybody? My name is Galston Anthony, the best to ever do it. And yes, I have been inconsistent, and you may crown me as the king of inconsistency as far as dropping videos on YouTube about camera reviews. I know I made a promise last time not to do this again and, stay committed to this, but I have been busy to my excuse. But getting straight into what the topic is, everybody's talking about the Ronin 4D, and I think I might sell my C300 Mark III for the Ronin 4D. Why would I make such a bold move? Because this camera, the C300 Mark III, what I'm filming with right now, is my Swiss pocket knife. This bold move comes from the fact that the Ronin 4D is probably, well, in my head, 95% of what I'm looking for in any camera like built in my mind. So I have to get me one of these. Well, let me give you a little bit more background. I'm a cinematographer that does TV shows and wedding cinematography, mostly. And the thing is, a lot of the times when I have to film like these kind of things, as well as short films, I have to put on a gimbal. Now, having a gimbal put on my C300, like one-hand gimbal, really takes up so much time. And a lot of the times it like shakes if I strain the camera a little too much or the gimbal a little too much, and it's annoying. If I change lenses, then boom, back to the same thing again. And I figured, you know what? Most times when I wanted to do gimbal shots, because of time, I go handheld and I compromise my shoot. The Ronin 4D takes that all away. All I gotta do is just snap on one of the DJI lenses and boom, I'm ready to shoot. So that for me is a huge plus as a wedding cinematographer. Reason number two, the autofocus system. Now, I know very little about the LiDAR system, but Canon C300 Mark III has a decent autofocus system. But unfortunately, for melanated brothers like myself that want to shoot in like a dark area, you kind of struggle to focus on the person. Now, with a LiDAR system, it implies that you could shoot in even darker environments and keep track of the person. Now, with that intelligent tracking, and I have not tried it out, I assume that will be a lot better than what I would use on my C300. While having a gimbal, it will be less of a nightmare as opposed to having a gimbal on my C300 or the C300 on my gimbal and still trying to tap the screen to focus. So that takes that away. Number three, this was actually compelling for me. Number three is 16-bit RAW ProRes. Now, the C300 Mark III does 12-bit 422 Canon RAW Light. And don't get me wrong, the colors you can push on 12-bit are amazing, but 16-bit ProRes, the playback is gonna be a lot better than what Canon RAW Light is. The C500 is a 6K, and trust me, I got a very fast system, but I struggle playing back the footage. And now with ProRes RAW, it takes a little bit of that strain away off my PC. It's actually an iMac, so definitely one of the reasons why I have to get myself the Ronin 4D. And number four is price point. I purchased my camera for how much? $10,000? $10,000, $11,000, I don't remember, but somewhere around there. Now, it said that the camera, the 4D, I need to get used to the name, the Ronin 4D will be at a $7,200 price point. I mean, I can sort of buy two Canon C300s. That is a very good price for everything that I need, as opposed to getting the C300 Mark III and buying a gimbal and having so many other things attached to it. This camera has everything attached to it. So this is what's making it very, very compelling for me. But now there's the bad side, the drawbacks of it that kind of bother me and irritate me a little bit. And drawback number one is the 6K is 48 frames per second at full frame, but the 4K 120 is at super 35. It will be so annoying to see the shot that I have right, like framed and everything, and I'm like, boom, let me switch to slow motion. I got to take off the lens and maybe put a wider lens just so I can get the same kind of field of view. That will be very, very annoying. So that is quite a drawback. And number two, which is not really so much of a problem, just checking my phone to make sure that I have my notes in check, is the lens. Well, I did kind of put it in like one. I have to get rid of all my lenses and use the lenses from the DJI just so that I can, snap a lens on and continue shooting, as opposed to like rebalancing everything. Because at times there are shots that I need on a certain lens And you know, balancing it might take the time out. So that drawback for me is, yeah, I guess I'll have to buy the lenses. But now the question comes, who is this camera for? Well, obviously for me. But for people that are more in the intermediate or semi-pro level, trying to do everything in a one-man band, you could just literally take the camera and get out and shoot. I'm generally a wedding cinematographer, like I may have mentioned earlier on, and having those steady shots of the bride and the groom and you got to run from one place to the other is definitely going to work for me. I see this also working for reality TV shows. Like you can actually size down the crew a little bit more and also size down the gear. You don't have to get steady cams no more, and you can get the shots that you were looking for. And most importantly, when I was here in Germany filming, you know, a short film, like putting on the Ronin gimbal was annoying. It was the RS2. Yeah, the RS2. It was annoying. And now I can do those shots by just turning on the camera, a couple seconds later, getting that shot. So definitely these people that do these kind of filming, cinematography like I do, this camera is for you. Now remember, you have to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I know I've been slacking, but subscribe to the channel and be sure to put your comments down below what you think. Will this camera be for you? What you think of the price point? Do you think I should sell my C300 Mark III? I'm selling it anyway. And until next time, I'm gonna try to remain consistent.